Welcome to week number 2 of Spiritual Beginnings. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you to the Center for Spiritual Living for providing this beautiful space for us. This is probably an unfamiliar topic for most of us, but someone from last week asked me if I could speak about it, so here it goes. Is anybody familiar with a thing called stress? That's what I thought. Okay, so what is stress? Well, we cannot have a mental event without activating certain parts of our brains. When we reflect, our cortex gets activated. Emotions, which foster love, activates the limbic system. And when we're stressed or fearful, the survival part of our brain takes over, which includes the 4 F's: fight, flight, feeding, and reproduction. Thank you for getting that. So, stress keeps our brains locked into this survival mode. Our bodies were not designed to stay in this mode 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's like driving your car at 7,000 RPMs, which is in the red zone on the tachometer, versus driving a car at 1,000 RPMs. Which one of the cars is going to last longer? The 1,000 RPMs. We want our brains and bodies to stay out of this survival mode as much as possible. Otherwise, we get sick or we create disease in our bodies because our bodies are not at ease. They're at dis-ease. So when we're stressed, we're constantly in this fight or flight mode, releasing all kinds of hormones into our bodies that were only meant to be released in fight or flight situations. We also end up directing blood to muscles in our bodies versus very important organs like our hearts, our brains, our everything, all of our organs. So all the blood is like focusing on our muscles because we're in that fight or flight situation. So it's like drinking those energy drinks continuously all day long, every day. It's just not what they were meant to do. So our bodies are never at ease. And quite frankly, we burn out and our bodies break down like that car that's running at 7,000 RPMs. So what are some causes of stress? The list is infinite. We humans can find ways to stress about everything. We can even find stress in not having anything to stress about. I was always a good one for that. So for me, everything would be going great in my life. So rather than enjoy the moment, I would wonder when it was all going to come crashing down on me. When's the sky going to fall in? So I would manage to find stress about not having any stress or worries in my life. So some causes of stress are illness of loved ones, our own illnesses, work, driving, the media, or one of my favorites, the futile search for conditional happiness. So let's start with that one. The futile search for conditional happiness. Who in this room has ever wanted something really badly? Every single one of us. Okay. So we got that thought into our heads over that thing that we want. We work it and we work it and we work it until we almost form an obsession over it. Maybe it was a new car, a pair of shoes that you fell in love with, or maybe you're just one of those technology junkies. So after you worked on this thought and you cultivated it, like that new car bug that we get, you finally go out and you get it, whether you could afford it or not. Wow, you're so excited and happy about the new acquisition. You ride that high for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. Sometimes it's only a matter of hours and sometimes only minutes. So what happens? The novelty wears off. You've told your friends and anybody else that you could think of that would bask in your momentary happiness. And then bam, you're back to the same emotional state that you were in before you made the purchase. And because the banking industry is only more than happy to help us out in this futile attempt at conditional happiness, we now get to pay it off. And oh boy, here comes the stress when the bills start to come in. So now we have to pay for the thing that we really didn't need in the first place in order to be happy. So what do? We go to that horrible job and we put up with that horrible stuff that we hate to do, so we can pay for the things that we never really needed anyway in order to be happy. We repeat the same habitual behavior over and over again until we're surrounded by stuff that we really don't need. It doesn't even make us happy anymore. In fact, sometimes we stress on where to put it all. Do you see familiar patterns in your lives? Yeah, a lot of heads nodding. So, how about the stress of illness? Now, here's an all too common one, probably having a lot to do with the first example of stress. We get sick, our friends get sick, our family members get sick, people that we love get sick. It's a part of life that we have to deal with. We need to shift our thoughts from focusing on the sickness to focusing on good health. At any time in your life, would you feel better focusing on the bad in a situation or focusing on the good in a situation? Would you feel better focusing on the sickness or focusing on the life without the sickness? It's all about keeping our brains out of that survival mode, shifting our gears of thought from 7,000 RPMs to 1,000 RPMs. So how about the stress of work? Again, this goes back to our first examples of stress. We're doing these jobs that we don't like to pay for the things that we don't need, all to attain the happiness that we already had inside us without having any external conditions met. This is our life. It's our responsibility to make ourselves happy. If we're miserable in our jobs and it's causing us to be stressed and unhappy in our lives, then what's the point? Sometimes we need big life changes to break away from the things that keep us from being happy, even if it means changing our thoughts about the things that we think we need to possess. So one of the most genuinely happy people that has walked among us in our lifetime and had absolutely nothing, and she couldn't have been more happier about it, was Mother Teresa. So let's start to think about the things in our lives that we think we need in order to truly be happy. When you really drill down to it and become more connected with your true self, you might find the answers to be as simple as food, water, and a place to lay your head at night. Our true happiness always, always, always comes from within. So another favorite of mine, especially here in South Florida, the stress of driving. In my spiritual journey, this by far has been my greatest challenge. I have developed a few techniques that have been working for me, and let's face it, it is what it is. So we have a choice every time we get into our cars. We could either have a peaceful, loving drive, or we can kick our brains into that survival mode before we get in the car, rather than expecting to encounter horrible drivers, inconsiderate drivers, text and drive drivers. We should set our course in our minds that it's going to be a pleasant drive. I'm going to have this quiet alone time, which is always nice. I'm going to listen to my favorite music, that audiobook that I've been wanting to hear, or just focus on the excitement rather than the focus on the excitement and the joy in the ride rather than expecting it to be a miserable drive. It's all about our state of mind, always. I guarantee that you will arrive exactly the same time, whether you were stressed or relaxed. Only it'll feel much quicker if you remain relaxed and joyful. And you'll arrive at your destination peaceful and in a much happier state of mind. Another thing that I do when I'm driving is I try to imagine that someone that I really love is driving the other cars. It makes me so much less critical and more forgiving. Driving is so impersonal. Can you imagine if it were just people standing in line on I-95 and just remove the cars from the equation? Would it be acceptable to jump in front of someone so you could be first? Or even moving in front of someone without saying, excuse me, excuse me. When we make driving more personal, we react differently. And we tend to be more forgiving and much more patient. So try to personalize it a little bit more. Make pretend the cars aren't there and use excuse me, thank you, that kind of state of mind. So, okay, how about one of the things that we all face every day, and it gets worse and worse, is the stress of media. We need to completely disconnect from the media's control over us. This is the approach that I've taken in my life. And if you feel like disconnecting from the media is like burying your head in the sand, I have a friend who feels like that, then choose to be selective about what you listen to and what you read. After all, you wouldn't open your front door of your home and allow a garbage truck to back up to it and unload in your entranceway, would you? No, I didn't think so. So why do we open our minds and allow someone to dictate how we're going to feel today by unloading whatever garbage they see fit into our minds? They're deciding what you're going to think about, how you're going to feel, and what you're going to believe. So we need to take control of that. We are allowing someone else to decide all of these things for us. Get our information from multiple sources and be selective about what we allow our minds to focus on. We need to decide whether we want to exude negativity or positivity throughout the day. There are so many wonderful things that happen every day in this world. Did you ever wonder why we never get to hear about them? So decide what you want to focus your attention on. This earth is beautiful. Do you want to focus on the beauty of the earth? Or do you want to focus on the destruction of this beautiful earth? Wars and killing, or the possibility of peace and a loving people. Where do you want to focus your attention? Mother Teresa was once asked why she didn't participate in anti-war demonstrations. And she said, "I will never do that. But as soon as you have a pro-peace rally, I'll be there." So do we want to focus on the good things or the bad things? Do we want to focus on the peace or do we want to focus on the war? What do I want to feed my mind with? Am I going to turn on CNN or watch positive news, or go to the website www.positive.news, which is a really good website. You guys should check it out. So it's www.positive.news. And I didn't know there was a .news, but there is. So it's a really very interesting. It's great things happening to the earth, to people, to animals. You know, it really focuses on the good news. And we all need a little bit of that. We need a lot of bit of that. So we have the choice to feel good about life or feel bad about life, to be stressed out about life or to be peaceful about life. Which do we want to choose? It's always our choice. So here are a few other stress management tips that we should all practice on a regular basis. We as humans are terrible breathers. The more upset, the more nervous, the more stressed out we get, the shorter the breaths we take. And that's when we need more oxygen, deeper breaths, but we take more shallow breaths. And then we just make the problem just get worse and worse and worse, cause more and more stress because we're really taxing our bodies because we're cutting off the oxygen supply. We're sending, because we're in that fight or flight mode, we're sending all our, extra blood to our muscles and instead of, where we need it. Meditation. Having a daily practice of meditation will do wonders for you. So try everybody to get onto a regular meditation schedule where you're doing it every day. And I guarantee you, your life will change for the positive. Shift our thoughts. So when you start thinking about negative thoughts, shift it to positive thoughts. Exercise. Exercise in itself is a form of meditation. So take that time, you're doing your body good, that makes you feel good, mentally and physically, and it gives you time just to be by yourself. Volunteer. Helping other people is a huge stress reliever. So, when you start to focus your attentions on helping others, it kind of takes your focus off of your own issues that you might be dealing with. And it really leaves you feeling great. Don't participate in negative conversations. So often we go through the day, and whether you watch the news or not, you're running into people and they're telling you what it is that you missed on the news, even though you don't want to hear it. Or it might be a situation where you're at work and negative conversations about a coworker are happening. So the first thing is not to participate in negative conversations. And if you're not able to change the conversation to be more positive, then you need to just walk away. So think about that. Don't participate. Don't let those seeds of negativity be planted in your brain. And filter the information that you allow to enter your mind. And that goes from the types of movies you're watching, to the news you're watching, to the music you're listening to. You plant those seeds. You could listen to a terrible rap song that's about hate and killing and stuff like that, which you're putting those seeds, even though you maybe you like the song, but you're still planting those seeds of thought into your mind. So be selective about what you allow. And smile, just because it feels good. Sometimes when you're feeling stressed, if you just laugh out loud or give yourself a good smile, it really will change your mood and swing your whole negative feeling into positivity. Sadhguru, who's a famous Indian yogi, he says, heaven and hell is not a geographical location. It's what you make of yourself. So let's think about where you want to be living from day to day. Do you want to live in heaven or do you want to live in hell? So, guess what our meditation is about tonight? Stress. I know I asked this question last week, but we have several new faces here this week. Who here has meditated before? So pretty much everyone. And who meditates on a regular basis? Maybe like half. Okay, that's pretty good. So the benefits of meditation are incredible and life-changing. When we take time to quiet our minds, the benefits to our bodies and our minds is immense. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. The more that you do it, the more that you do meditate, the easier it becomes. So for the next part of our evening, we're going to do what's called a guided meditation. The idea is to calm your body and mind and then go on a journey of stress relief. Use your imagination. Some people can visualize better than others. So don't think that you're doing it wrong if your mind wanders. Just acknowledge that it wandered and then bring it back to my voice. When I first started meditating, my mind would be everywhere but on the meditation. Then I would beat myself up, over the fact that I'm not meditating properly, and that only made it worse. So be kind to yourself. You're doing a great thing for yourself just by being here tonight. So if you can't follow along, just enjoy the relaxing quieting of your mind and just take the time for yourself. I'm also putting these meditations on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you can watch them whenever you want. Just search for my name, Greg Koslowski, and you'll see the whole list of available meditations. Now get comfortable in your chair. Keep your feet flat on the floor in front of you and your hands in your lap. Sit up in the chair with your spine straight and your shoulders back. And let's close our eyes and begin by taking 15 deep, continuous breaths without any pause between the inhale and the exhale. Go at your own pace and count each breath. And when you're done, go back to normal but conscious breaths. So go ahead and begin your 15 breaths now. Imagine that you're sitting on the most beautiful beach. The air is crisp and smells so pure and clean. The temperature is perfect. It's not too hot, not too cool. And the sun is so warm on your face and body. It's the most perfect day. The birds are singing and flying all around. And you have this entire beautiful beach all to yourself. When you look out to the ocean, instead of seeing waves of water, you see waves of the most purest light that you've ever seen. These waves of light are so captivating and comforting that you can't stop taking in their tranquil beauty. You watch as these waves of light come closer and closer to you each time they reach the shore. Eventually, they come right up to your toes and just completely cover them. The waves of light have such a warm, comforting feeling. Your toes become completely relaxed from these waves of light. Another wave comes in and covers your feet and halfway up your legs. Now your legs, your feet, and your toes are completely relaxed as these waves of light go back out to the sea. It's just the most perfect day and the most incredibly relaxing experience that you've ever had. Another wave of light comes in, and now it covers half of your body. And as the wave goes back out to the ocean, it leaves the entire lower half of your body completely relaxed and stress-free, taking away any soreness and any stress. Now another wave comes in, and it gently covers your entire body, relaxing every inch of your body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Your body has never felt so good and so relaxed. You just take a few moments to enjoy this incredible feeling. And you're comforted in the fact of knowing that this is your special beach, and you can come here whenever you want and take some time just for yourself to relax. In this deeply relaxed state, you look down the beach and you see a beautiful, lush, tropical forest. It looks so peaceful with the sun shining and the waves of light caressing the shore next to it. You decide to take a closer look and explore this peaceful forest. As you approach the forest, you can hear the birds singing, and you can smell the incredible fragrance of flowers that permeate the air. You see a stone path that goes into the forest. So you decide to take a little walk. As you walk down the path, you see flowers everywhere. The sun is shining through the trees, and the light dances on every flower and every green leaf. In the center of the forest, you see a beautiful garden. And in the middle of the garden is the most spectacular fountain that you've ever seen. Except this is no ordinary fountain. It's a fountain of the most pristine light. It's an incredible ice blue light, and it's so calming to look at as it flows like water. This is your very own healing fountain. Whatever this light touches has no other choice than to be healed. You touch the light, and immediately your body begins to tingle. You can feel the warm, healing energy from the light go into every cell in your body. It's the most amazing feeling that you've ever experienced. As you stand next to the fountain enjoying this feeling, a huge bag appears at your feet with your name on it. You try and lift the bag, but you can't because it's too heavy. When you open the bag to see why it's so heavy, you realize that it's filled with rocks. Each rock representing a cause of stress in your life. This is your garden and your healing fountain, so anything that you can imagine must appear here if you wish. You reach into the bag and pick up the biggest and the heaviest rock. Maybe it represents a health issue that you've been dealing with, or whatever you need to address in your life. And you say, from this day forward, I will no longer allow you to cause me to be stressed and to put my brain into survival mode and my health and well-being at risk. I realize that it's my choice to decide how I want to feel in every situation. And by me being stressed about you, it's not going to change the fact that I must deal with you. So I'm choosing to deal with you while feeling peaceful and calm, rather than worried and stressed. I will no longer allow you or this situation to negatively impact my health or the joy in my life. And I know that healing always occurs when I have a positive outlook rather than a stressed and worried outlook. And then you place the rock into the healing fountain, and it melts away, leaving your bag lighter and leaving you feeling with a feeling with peace and comfort. You know now that this sense of knowing that there is no challenge greater than you can handle. You reach into the bag and you pick up the next biggest rock. Maybe it represents a financial issue that you're dealing with, or whatever else that has been causing stress in your life. And you say, from this day forward, I will no longer allow you to cause me to be stressed and to put my brain into survival mode and my health and well-being at risk. I realize that it's my choice to decide how I want to feel in every situation. And by me being stressed about you, it's not going to change the fact that I must deal with you. So I'm choosing to deal with you while feeling peaceful and calm, rather than stressful and worried. I will no longer allow you or this situation to negatively impact my health or the joy in my life. I know that healing always occurs when I have a positive outlook rather than a stressed and worried outlook. You place the rock into the healing fountain, and it melts away, leaving your bag even lighter and leaving you with an even greater feeling of peace and comfort. You have an increasingly strong knowing that there is no challenge greater than you can handle. Now take a few minutes on your own and continue to empty that heavy bag. You could have many rocks or only a few. This is your garden, your fountain. So whatever you want will be there. And remember, you can come here to this place whenever you want and as often as you like. So take a few minutes on your own and empty that bag. As you finish up for now, remember you can take this journey on your own, whenever you'd like, and however often. Now you take your empty bag and you place it into the healing fountain of light, and you fill the bag with as much light as it can hold. And in your newfound sense of peace and comfort, you become light as a feather, and you begin to lift off of the ground like a helium balloon, holding your bag filled with light. You rise above the garden, above the forest. You float above the clouds and out into the earth's atmosphere. You rise so far that you can see the entire earth. It looks like a big blue marble from here. And from here it looks so peaceful and so beautiful, the way that it's truly meant to be. You open your bag and you pour that light down onto the earth, and you watch it completely envelop the entire planet, covering the entire earth with the healing light of peace, comfort, and love, enabling all people to learn to release their stress and replace it with peace and calmness, and just spread love and joy. It's such an incredible sight to see, the earth surrounded by this beautiful healing light. You take one last look at this beautiful sight, and you begin to float back towards the earth as light as a feather. You begin to see the entire state as you gently float down. You float through the white puffy clouds, and you begin to see your beautiful beach and your forest. You float through the forest treetops and into the garden, and you gently touch down next to your healing fountain of light, holding your now empty bag. As you take one last look around the garden, taking in all of its beauty and enjoying your new stress-free and much lighter self, knowing that you can come here whenever you want and stay as long as you'd like. It's your fountain, your garden, your forest, and your beach. You begin to walk on the stone path back toward the beach. And with every step that you take towards the beach, you begin to become more and more present, with an incredible feeling of peace, calmness, and joy. Feeling so much lighter, you return to this room. You begin to become more and more aware of your surroundings. And you open your eyes when you're ready, with a new renewed feeling of inner peace and happiness. You can stretch and move around, get the blood flowing again. How does everybody feel? Good? Great. Awesome. You look relaxed, all of you. I wrote an affirmation that you can repeat to yourselves throughout the week. It's on the back table. And it is, I am making the conscious decision to remain calm and peaceful. As Abraham Hicks says, a belief is just a thought that we keep repeating. So starting tonight, why not have a belief that our lives are peaceful and stress-free? I hope that you're all taking something positive away from this experience tonight. I know that I have. I am very grateful that you all came out tonight, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. Namaste.